not joking. All my guys, them know me.
In 2019, the total number of dependents of international students were just 16,000 in numbers. And since then, it has experienced a significant increase of about 750%, meaning that the numbers have risen all the way from 16,000 to 136,000, and it keeps rising. Now, as a result of this, the UK government has finally decided to stop overseas students from bringing their dependents to the UK. How do they intend doing this? That is exactly what we are going to be discussing in today's video. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Melissa Otsi, and if you're new on this channel, you guys, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and click the bell so that whenever I post new content, you will be the very first to find out. You guys, today's content is not going to be a usual content where we all catch cruise with all smiles, happiness, joy, because I don't know what to think of this news. I think it's a good and bad news at the same time, because if you look at it, I keep complaining. I do tweet content a lot, and I've said this countless times on this channel. People are going through hell. People are going through a lot. Like I keep saying this, right? There are a lot of issues going on. Jobs right now, like the jobs are so limited. There are actually no jobs right now. Actually, when it comes to casual jobs, it is really limited. I mean, when I came into the UK, it wasn't such an Herculean task to get a job. You could easily just get a job when you're tired, you switch jobs. But that is not the case right now. A lot of things have been happening. And since the UK introduced the 2 years post-study visa and at the same time introduced the care visa route, a whole lot of changes have been experienced in the UK. And to be honest, at the end of the day, every single person is feeling the brunt of it. Now, UK has finally decided that if you're coming into the UK to study at master's level, like you're coming to the UK to study 1 year course at master's level, you will no longer be able to come with your dependent. But people that are exempted are, of course, those coming to the UK to do research programs like PhD, for instance. You're very much allowed to come with your dependent. Now, as of 2019, the Conservatives, we all know that Rishi Sunak, the current Prime Minister, is a Conservative. Now, the Conservatives, they planned on cutting down the total number of migrants coming into the UK from 226,000. At the time, as of 2019, the total number was 226,000. But right now, in 2023, they've seen a significant increase and the numbers have risen to over 500,000. That is a lot if you ask me. Now, and at the same time, international students will no longer be able to switch to work visa while on student visa. You know, that's what has been going on since they introduced this care visa, right? A lot of people have been switching. I know someone that literally switched immediately to work visa. I don't know how he did it, but he got a really good job as a data analyst and just switched. So it's been going on for a while now. And now students will no longer be able to do that. In all of this, you still have your 2 years post-study visa in place. Now, guys, let's go over the changes for international students in full. Number 1, removing the right for international students to bring dependents unless they are on postgraduate courses currently designated as research programs. 2, removing the ability for international students to switch out of the student route into work routes before their studies have completed. 3, reviewing the maintenance requirements for students and dependents. 4, steps to clamp down on unscrupulous education agents who may be supporting inappropriate applications to sell immigration, not education. 5, better communicating immigration rules to the higher education sector and to international students. And finally, improved and more targeted enforcement activity. Now, all this while, their priority has always been about illegal migrants, to cut down on the amount of people that come into the UK illegally, especially through boats. But seeing these figures, you can tell that they are doing this in our own interest if you look at it in a way, because I know at this point it's very easy for everyone to start talking, to start, saying a lot of things. But at the same time, I think it should serve as a wake-up call for our government, because why are people running away from your country? If your country was good, why would people be running away? Now, this information is not peculiar to Nigerians only. It's for all overseas applicants. So not just for Africans. Indians, Asians, they are all included in this new rule. They also set out to review the maintenance requirement for students and their dependents. I do not know what maintenance is at the moment, because I know that it varies. You know that if you're coming to the UK to study, you have to prove that you have a certain amount of money in your account to support your education. And unfortunately, this particular thing has been compromised. It has really, really been compromised. A lot of people now outsource these funds, which of course we all know, and I'm sure the UK government, they are fully aware. At the end of the day, we can't really fool these people. They know what they are doing. So they are looking at reviewing the maintenance requirements. At the same time, they're looking at reviewing agents who sell immigration. For instance, there are so many agents right now that when you give them money, they help you to get admission in schools. What I don't understand is the UK government actually aware that some schools actually enable these agents? I have a friend who applied, not from Nigeria, from another country. She's Nigerian, but she applied from overseas to study in a very renowned institution in the UK. She met all the points, every single point, but she did not get anything from this school, no response. So at some point, she had to contact the school directly, and the school stated that it's because she said she's from Nigeria, that they do not admit directly from Nigeria. You can imagine. So she's like, yeah, she's Nigerian, but she is not based in Nigeria, that this is where she is based. That was when they had to take a look at her application and granted her the admission. You can imagine. So they asked her that if you're from Nigeria, you have to go through our agents in Nigeria. Like, it's so unbelievable. If not that she's my very close friend, I wouldn't have believed it. But I just hope that UK government actually understand that some of their institutions are actually enabling these agents, and the money is not cheap, guys. It's not, we're talking of millions. Just something you can comfortably do from the comforts of your home. Apply for your school and get your admission. You will have to go through agents who will charge you millions of naira, and that is excluding your fees. That's just agent fee. That, to me, it's really illegal, and I hope they seriously look into this. Another thing they're also planning on reviewing is better communicating immigration rules to higher education sector and international students. With all these things that is going on, in some institutions are not really in support of this, because they feel like they're going to run at a huge loss. For instance, London University shifts, they are totally against this move. Now, let me read what they have to say. The Home Office decision to prevent international applicants to one-year master courses in the UK from bringing dependents with them, it presents a blow to equality and inclusion, and a loss in competitiveness against our counterparts in Europe, North America, and Australia, who continue to welcome these students and their families with open arms. Preventing international students from bringing their families with them will likely lower this figure and undo the honorable ambition set out by the government in its own international London strategy. London's appeal to international students is as yet unraveled and acts as a gateway for international talent across the UK. We fear today's announcement could dent London international pulling power to the detriment of the whole country, and we hope this is not the start of a slippery slope who opens the door to further restrictions on international students in the longer term. They are of the opinion that the reason why people come to the UK to study, number one, of course, high education standard of the UK system, and secondly, because they are allowed to bring their dependents to the UK, and thirdly, of course, which we all know, because of the 2 years post-study visa. So they are of the opinion that if the UK maintains that 1 year master students cannot bring international students to the UK, that means these people in turn will go to other countries, which will put the UK at a major loss, like European countries, countries in North America and Australia. And of course, I think this is a really vital point. But at the same time, this is what braverman has to say. The UK is a top destination for the brightest students to learn at some of the world's best universities. But we have seen an unprecedented rise in the number of student dependents being brought into the country with visas. It is time for us to tighten up this route to ensure we can cut migration numbers and meet the government's pledge to the British people to cut net migration. This is the first thing to do to allow us to better protect our public services while supporting the economy by allowing the students who contribute the most to keep coming here. So the plan is to cut down net migration while protecting their economy. With this kind of news, I really don't know what to say, to be honest, because one part of me is actually in support and the other part of me is not entirely in support. So I'm just like in the middle, because to be honest, people are suffering. And my greatest fear is because the main reason why most of us are here is for the future of our children. We don't want a situation whereby in future our children, they school and there are no jobs for them. Like they study hard, they come out from universities, very bright, and there are no jobs out there for them because it is very much limited. I think that's like the worst thing. Or at some point to notice that NHS is no longer functioning. We all know how it is like right now with the NHS. If you go to emergency section, you're literally going to stay there for hours, except you're dying. And of course, if you're dying, they don't expect you to walk in with your two legs. Now, I know some time ago, I was very sick. I was pregnant. I was very sick. I worked there. Guys, these people did not attend to me for over 8 hours. No jokes. I was dying. I was in so much pain. But at the time, I had to prioritize. So people they were working with, people they were attending to probably had severe issues, and so they couldn't handle mine at the time. And honestly, it wasn't really funny. When I had my twins, I was in so much pain. I was very sick. I rang ambulance, they came. They still trianged me. What that means that when I got there, I still had to wait for a really long time. Like, this is someone that they were suspecting that might have sepsis. I still had to wait for several hours before I could be seen. Imagine they should fold their hands and watch international students bringing dependents upon dependents upon dependents. What will become of this country in 2, 3 years, or even 5 years? You can imagine what it's like now. Right now, people are suffering. Things are tight. Now, imagine what it will be like in 3 years' time, or in 2 years' time, or even next year if they don't curtail it. So, into this out of sentiment, while we are being emotional about this, I think we should also try to think outside the box. Now, if you're planning on coming to the UK, of course, PhD students are not affected. And in my own words, I would advise that you probably do your masters in your country and then try coming to the UK to do your PhD. I think it's okay. It's not entirely bad, even though it is really, really expensive. I think PhD run between 3 years, 4 years-ish. It's plenty of money. And we know that it is not cheap to study in the UK. It is definitely not cheap. It runs into thousands of pounds, millions of naira. That is why people just choose the 1 year master's course. So now, I'm studying just for 1 year. I'll close my eyes and pay this £15,000, £12,000, and have my 2 years post-study visa. And mind you, this 2 years post-study visa is not even a guarantee that you're going to be here. I know people that their 2 years post-study visa is expiring this year. No hopes, like they are hopeless at this point, and they are just confused about what to do because they were unable to get a job. You can see. So it's not really like a guarantee, right? I just hope that I'm Nigerian, so I'm going to talk about Nigerians, unfortunately, because I don't know about other countries. But I really do hope that our governments will wake up. I mean, we can do it, man. We can do it. We can make Nigeria institution of really great international standard that people will even come from abroad to study in our country. But I mean, it just lies in our hands. We can do it, right? So we can do it, right? We are blessed. Like, our country is richly, richly blessed. If we can decide not to be selfish, right, not to put our personal interest first before public interest, then we can definitely pull it off. Secondly, if you're planning on coming to the UK, if you know that you can't afford to do PhD, myself, I don't think I want to do PhD at any point in my life, because I don't think I'm ready for that. Like, writing 6,000 words, 8,000 words and all that. I don't think I'm cut out for that, when it comes to academic writing and stuff. But I would like to say that if you're planning on coming to the UK, right, then there's still possibility for you to try and see if you can get into the January. It's going to be really difficult now because there will be like a rush. Lots of people will be applying at the same time so they can come in this September or December, because this takes effect from January 2024. But I would say, if possible, you can look for schools that are not really like in high demand. Google is your friend. You can try it out. So do not let this news discourage you. I know this might come as a rude shock to some persons, but I feel like you should just relax, because there's always a way out, right? So you guys share with me your thoughts about this information in the comment section. And of course, I'll be waiting for you right there. Till I see you all in my next one. Bye, guys.